It's hard to figure out. Do you guys already know in your heads who's going to win the French on both sides?
Well, I mean, you have to be not paying attention to anything in women's tennis if you don't think Iga Swiatek is by far the favorite, not only in Paris, but of course coming back to Paris for the Olympics. Right. She must be so pumped for the opportunity. I mean, Rafa, sadly for him, to not have had the opportunity to be at his very best to win a gold medal at the Olympics in Roland-Garros is like so sad in a way. Yeah. But also gives somebody else an opportunity to win a gold medal. But, you know, hey, listen.
Novak wants one. Novak hasn't won one.
And a best of three, though, I think is for people out there not to understand, and Sam and I have talked about this, he knows so well, men's best of three is very different to best of five, which is why we've had some interesting people win the gold medal at the Olympics in the men's side as opposed to on the women's side. But, I mean, look, Iga Swiatek by far the favorite. And I would say that Novak mentally has sort of made, I think, I don't know about you, Sam, the Olympics his priority this year.
Yeah, it's the one thing that Mary just said that's not on his resume. He has everything else but that gold medal at the Olympics. So even though he hasn't played great this year, I think at the beginning of the year, he brought out the calendar, he highlighted the Olympics and said, like, let's peak right here. And so I think that is the main goal for him in 2024.
But also, guys, Novak has, once again, after the Australian Open, he got rid of Goran Ivanisevic, who had helped him win a whole bunch of majors. It seems like there's a bit of chaos internally, you know, right? I mean, I'm not sure where usually you know exactly how good Novak Djokovic is going to be, exactly how tough he's going to be, and what his goals are and how he plans to meet them. I'm not sure where he is right now.
Yeah, I agree, Mary. I think it's been a bit tumultuous. He got rid of his management team at the end of last year. Yeah. He's changed his coaching crew. So it's been a very tumultuous start to the year. But, you know, as Sam and I have talked,
title yet, Stubbsy.
It's unheard of. And at the end of last year, I actually thought he was going to have his best year ever and then sort of like be like, all right, I'm done. But age does, in my opinion, eventually take its toll, even on the greats. But let's flip, Mary, to the Olympics, as we want to get to that. What are some of your favorite memories at the Olympic Games? I mean, you've had so many great ones. If you haven't seen her rant in badminton, just go on to YouTube. It's one of the greatest live segments of TV. And when we say vamp, it means just keep talking, Mary. Well, you did a great job on the badminton, but
my badminton rant that was in Greece. That was the Athens Olympics. Yes, that is truly ridiculous, and I'm very proud of that. I'm elderly. This will be my 16th Olympic Games, but it makes me feel young to be at the Olympics. I've gotten to see Michael Phelps and Usain Bolt and Simone Biles. I mean, I've been blessed, and I've gotten to do features that have some of the favorite things I've ever done are the Olympics features. But I have to tell you, my favorite thing about the Olympics, and it's happened the last couple, is when the NBA players come to watch the WNBA players, the women's basketball play. And obviously they've been ruling the game as have the men. For many Olympics now, but to see those guys want to be there watching the women basketball players, it makes my heart sing. Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
Now, you could call a tennis match in your sleep. At the Olympics, we've got all sports. How do you prep for calling swimming, gymnastics, these other sports that maybe you're not as well versed in? Do you have to do extra homework? Or what's the process?
I mean, I tried to. 100 days out, we usually start getting all kinds of research and stuff. I do the open water marathon, which is one of the most untelevisable events you can imagine. Right? And I've done the last three. The good news is I do it with Rowdy Gaines. And even Rowdy thinks it's a confusing thing. There's no number. These guys just jump in the water. The women, there's like 100 of them, and you don't know who the hell they are. There's no numbers on their backs. And for a couple of hours they swim around buoys and stuff. And basically I try to do research on that, but I find myself for those couple of hours saying to Rowdy, "Now what's going on? now what's happening? Now who's winning?" And then in the final 40 seconds of it, Rowdy starts going crazy and he's jumping up and down. And there's all kinds of things happening under the water. and then that's over. And then I think, I cannot believe I just got asked to call that event.
I want to ask you,
Is
it more difficult? Was it more difficult to call that, knowing that you're basically picking a cap and trying to figure out who the person is?
Yeah.
Or working on the dog shows where you're like, I don't know what's happening here.
Okay, no. Now, dogs, I have an affinity. I actually feel much better prepared calling the National Dog Show that airs every Thanksgiving. I've done that for a lot of years. I love dogs. I research dogs. They are the friendliest athletes I've ever known. They let you scratch them. They kiss you. I mean, that's different. But open water marathon, I love the event because it's just the most delirious thing you can imagine trying to understand.
Going into an Olympics, do you ever get to pick, hey, you know what, this is a new Olympics for me. I'd like to call this sport or this sport. Or does NBC or whoever come to you and tell you this is what to call it?
I feel fairly fluent in tennis. Okay. Like that's my lane right there. In any other sport I would be play-by-play, or I'd be a reporter. And I've done plenty of that stuff, and I feel very good. I care about it so much. I mean, if I can keep doing Olympics, it's just one of the great moments. You grow up watching the Olympic Games. You grow up, caring so much for a couple of weeks about sports that you've never cared about before. You think I watched swimming, for the 4 years leading up to the Olympics? No. Do I watch gymnastics? No. When do I watch figure skating? No. And all of a sudden the Olympics comes around, and I'm absolutely enthralled. You
almost want to watch the sports that aren't as mainstream.
Yeah,
basketball, even
that's
tennis, golf. You almost put those aside sometimes for these other sports you're talking about because you get them once every 4 years.
Yes, that's right. And I especially love the winter games because they take you to places that tennis never takes you to. All of a sudden you're up in the Italian Alps, or you're there, like you're in places, and the athletes, winter athletes are different. They walk outside, and look around and see what the wind is like, and they're so much more aware of their environments than tennis players are. Like everything about it. Can you tell I like covering the Olympics?
I mean, I don't know. I'm sensing that. I mean, I've had the joy, Mary, of calling the last 3 Olympics in tennis. And we had a special moment, obviously, being able to call the Olympics in London at Wimbledon. So, this moment is arguably the same, where the Olympic tennis is going to be played at a Grand Slam, a stadium in venue in Roland-Garros. And Sam and I sort of go back and forth about the importance of tennis in the Olympics. I want to know your thoughts. I know mine, but what are your thoughts about having tennis in the Olympics and the importance of that?
I'm delighted it's there. I mean, can you imagine being a tennis player and, all your dreams are about winning Wimbledon or winning the US Open, and all of a sudden tennis becomes an Olympic event? I just remember when I happened to be with John McEnroe when when it was announced, and he said, oh my, who the hell wouldn't want that? It had been an exhibition sport, but now all of a sudden you get a medal, you're playing for your country as well as for yourself. You get to put a number up on the medals count. I don't see the downside. I really don't. Of course, it clogs up. You have to be very fit. Obviously, you have to be very fit.
Mary, ask this guy.
I have a bit of a different take. I love tennis in the Olympics. I had to play in the Beijing Olympics in 2008. It was incredible.
Yeah.
I do feel like, though, as a tennis player, as a golfer, as an NBA player, you would rather win Wimbledon, the French Open, the PGA Championship, the Masters, an NBA title over an Olympic gold. Especially as an American, I think that's the kind of, I would think most of the players would feel that way. What do you think when it comes to those kind of few examples I gave? Would you rather win the French Open or an Olympic gold?
I'll tell you what means more to most people. I remember this story, Sam. Zina Garrison won a gold medal in doubles. And she would always talk to kids and stuff, go into classrooms and try to get kids. And she would bring her Olympic gold medal in a baggie and show them, she'd put it out there for kids. She'd take it out, and they couldn't believe that they were holding an Olympic gold medal. Zina understood the power of that. I think a lot of any athlete understands the power of and it doesn't even have to be gold, but that's obviously everyone's favorite color, right? I think people understand that. So yes, in the world of tennis, maybe those aren't your goals, but I mean, I know that Novak sure wants to win an Olympic gold for Serbia.
Yeah.
He has stated it. He means it. There aren't that many things he hasn't done. I think, he played at the Tokyo Games and it was damn hot. I was there. It was really, really hot in Tokyo a couple of years ago when he was trying to win. He wanted to win all 4 majors and Olympic gold.
Yep.
And that ruined his chances.
Everyone knows what the Olympics. I go to my next door neighbor, and they might not know what the Australian Open is or the French Open is, but they know what the Olympics is. And I'll give you that is a valid point. Like the world knows what an Olympic gold medal is.
Thank you, Sam. Finally, we're bringing this guy around.
Over Olympic gold.
I mean, listen, I know for me. Personally, I played in 4 Olympics and I never came away with any medal at all. And it still irks me to this day. And I won a few tennis tournaments and a few Grand Slams, and that still bothers me to this day. I think the difference is just like, the World Cup in football, a lot of players or soccer players would say that means more to them, but also arguably the Olympic gold is as important in some respects. For me, I think in tennis, Grand Slams are the level you want to get to, but if you win a gold, that certainly means a lot to you as a tennis player. So I love that the tennis is in the Olympics. And like you said, it possibly ruined Novak Djokovic's attempt to win a calendar Grand Slam when he lost in the finals of the US Open because he was exhausted for that year. But it also shows you how important it is to him. I mean, we've seen that guy cry leaving the court. We've seen Del Potro cry and be hugged by Rafael Nadal at the Olympics. I mean, these guys, it means a lot to them.